So good afternoon. Welcome to the second webinar of the StartUp project. StartUp project was funded under a lifelong learning program, and it was under the transversal program KA3 ICT. The duration of the program, the project is from January 2013, and the project will finish 31st August 2015. The consortium is made up of 7 partners from Italy, United Kingdom, Austria, Spain, and Malta. And this project is coordinated by the Italian partner, Sofia. Today we are going to speak about soft skills in entrepreneurship, and we have Angel Giuliano from Malta, who is also the president of the Foundation for Women Entrepreneurs, and she will be speaking about the soft skills in entrepreneurship. After the presentation, there will be time for questions and answers. So I'll give the floor to Angel now.
Thank you, Marie-Rose, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm very glad to be with you here this afternoon, and I hope that we will share a little bit of nice and interesting information about soft skills. I hope you are all seeing the presentation, but just in case, let me know. I'll try and go a little bit slowly. Let me know again if you can't understand. So as an overview of what we will be, what I'll be doing in this presentation, a little bit about me, and then we're going to start understanding about soft skills in general, why are they important, what soft skills we use in the business world, and then I'll pick some and go into detail. And at the end, I have some tips for you all. So very briefly, this is taken, in fact, as a snapshot of my LinkedIn profile. I'm Maltese. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 19 years now, since 1996. Although Across Limits, my main company, only that's been funded in 2001, so it's 14 years old. Sorry. My background is technology, so most of my interests are related somehow to technology, and in fact, as you can see there, it's things related to e-learning, e-health, and digital culture. Like all of you, I guess here, I adore working in EU projects, and you know, it's a great experience that I think we can all learn a lot from. Yes, okay, so this is where we were starting. So basically, I was saying that in fact, soft skills are for me life skills, because they're the skills and the abilities that pertain to your personality, to your attitude, and your behavior. So they are all of those things which are not formal or technical knowledge. Next. Okay, so this big, question, hard skills or soft skills? What's the most important in business? Which ones do you need? And basically, in business, you need both, of course, but the hard skills are the ones which are normally taught at universities or at business schools or in any sort of business teaching. So soft skills is only recently started to appear as an area where people are noticing that teaching is also required, because for many people this was inherent, their personality. But now we really are focusing on soft skills. Of course, soft skills do complement hard skills. Just by being a nice person, a nice girl or a nice guy, you won't be a great business person. So you need both. You need both the knowledge of the area of your business. So for example, in my case, if I want to run a technology company, I cannot just, laugh and smile and everything will work. I also need to know the technical know-how. But the combination is much better than just the hard skill itself. So in fact, I'm writing here that all entrepreneurs in all sectors need both. Next, please. Now, why are they important? Okay, they're important to handle interpersonal relations. And for those of you that have been in business, or for those of you that maybe want to start up a business, you will soon start noticing that problems in your business are normally people problems. It's very rare, let's say rare, to have just purely technical problems. Somewhere, somehow, there's somebody involved that is maybe unhappy, or somehow there is a combination of some people which is not working. So soft skills are also important to take appropriate decisions so that you have the full picture. So sometimes in order to take a decision, you can't just say, let's look at this technically. You need to actually look at it holistically, even from the personal side. Of course, to communicate effectively. Now, whether you're using an online means like this, or whether you're sitting and having a coffee with somebody, whether it's a client or, I don't know, an employee, it's important to use your soft skills. And last but definitely not least, to continue developing yourself and others around you. So I think all of us here understand the importance of personal development. Next, please. Now, let's give you an example of which are the type of skills I am referring to here. So, communication skills, that's a very big area, and in fact later on we will dive a little bit deep in this, because there's different type of skills, whether they are oral or written. Critical thinking, thinking out of the box, not getting stuck in a rut. Problem-solving resourcefulness, and again, as an entrepreneur, one faces challenges. I hate calling them problems. One faces challenges on a daily basis. The ability to work productively on a team, either with your clients or with your employees, but anyway, it's team. For me, this is very important. The ability to laugh at yourself and at the world. I think we cannot, even though horrible things are happening around us, we can still laugh at life and, try and move forward with a smile. And of course, self-confidence and optimism. And this issue of self-confidence also, together with Mary Rose, we have seen, for example, when we talk to women entrepreneurs, would-be women entrepreneurs actually, it's something which they lack. It's something which we still need to work on really, really hard. Next, please. Okay. Now, every now and then, I will put in a couple of weird slides like these. These are taken from, for me, a very funny website called despair.com, which is a little bit of a black humor slide. I told you humor is important and having a laughter, so I hope you will bear with me with a couple of these slides. Next, please. Okay. Now, in the business world, in general, soft skills are still scarce. They are intangible, of course. It's difficult to quantify, and I cannot cite any particular research that will tell you what's the percentage of business people who have or have not soft skills. Definitely, the most successful people have some good soft skills, but in general, I would say that soft skills are sometimes ignored. And yet, they are needed to stay sane and to function better with your employees, with your clients or suppliers, and also with yourself, because after all, you are a very important part of your business. Next, please. Now, I told you we will speak about communication. So let's go a little bit in depth. I have picked about 5 or 6 different soft skills that I want to discuss today, and this is in fact one of the first ones. So successful communication, because we all communicate somehow or another, whether it's via email, via Skype, over the phone, having a meeting, going to a seminar, talking in the office, in front of the coffee machine, as most of us do. We all communicate, but do we successfully communicate? And normally successful communication includes focus and concentration, a proper presentation of the information that you want to impart, active listening, and this I have to really underline because many people tend to just talk without listening to what the audience is saying. Asking questions. Of course, business communication, like things like brochures and posters and your website, it's another form of communication. And public speaking. Public speaking in front of an audience, again, physical or virtual. Next, please. Okay, so basically, good communication is the key. And I've put in that image because to me, it does seem as the one thing which can open doors for us. So in the business world, even when you're trying to form a new business relationship, whether it is with a potential partner or with an investor or with a client, you need to communicate. And you need to communicate well if you want that door, metaphorically, to be opened. Next, please. Now, there are three main parts of the communication skills, which we all do. Oral, you're hearing me talking now. Written, you're actually reading what I've written. And non-verbal, you're seeing me waving my hands here and smiling at you every now and then. And even though I can't see you, I guess most of you are nodding. I hope so, at least. So these three parts of this communication skills scenario, they are all equally important. And we cannot ignore one for the other. So I've gone, I guess like yourself, to many conferences and public lectures, and I see very illustrious professors, male or female, okay, I don't want to generalize, who are great at talking, but then their presentation is, horrible. Or the other way around, the presentation is wonderful, the content is great, but this person can't express themselves. And even the non-verbal, I mean, how many of these people actually look you in the eye, sometimes they look somewhere in a corner, they sort of fumble with something in their hands. So it's important to have proper non-verbal communication. Next, please. Okay, so good communication has these 5 sort of attributes which we can look at. First and foremost, I'm going to do it clockwise. Timeliness. A message delivered too early or too late may add to confusion. So if you're in a business meeting, all right, and on the other side there is, I don't know, a potential client, and they are raising a couple of concerns, you need to address them immediately. If you cannot address them immediately, at least tell them, okay, I've taken note of this, I will get back to you. Because if you just keep going forward and don't take note of that, the time would have been lost. And on the other side, they would say, oh, she's ignoring me or he's ignoring me. Accuracy. Try and be as correct as possible, as right in your message. Now, I know we all work sometimes in a language which isn't ours, and I'm sure many messages have been lost in translation, many of them. But let's try and make an effort, and this is why sometimes it's good to have both the written and the oral, because it might be that writing, many people are better to express themselves in the written way, whereas whilst talking, sometimes they get a little bit lost if it's not in their own native language. Coordination of communication. Sometimes too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So if during a meeting you talk, you know, they're just gonna go, that's it. You know, this is very uncoordinated. And if you jump from one topic to the other and go back and go forward, you know, no, you need as much as possible. So try and be logical and linear as much as we can. Who needs to know the information? So it's useless, again, if I'm talking to a client, and maybe I'm talking to a junior person in the organization. It's useless you trying to talk about financial issues because that's not the right person to talk to. So it's important when you communicate to make sure that you're communicating the right message to the right person. And confirmation, whether it is non-verbal, like the famous nodding, or whether they send an email, yes, thanks. And again, from your side, whether you send an email. I'm sure we all send lots of emails all the day and we receive. And sometimes you send a message and that's it. Poof. You know, it sort of disappears. You don't even know if they got it, and no further information. It's good to receive a confirmation, even if it's just to say, thanks for your message, I got it, I'll get back to you next week because I'm traveling, whatever. You know, it's important. Next, please. Okay. Ability to speak fluently. Now again, the third bullet is learn languages. It's something which here in Malta we believe in quite a lot. I mean, we're all bilingual and many of us speak 3 or 4 languages. And we understand that sometimes it's impossible for everybody to be such a linguist. But even if you manage to speak a few words, if your audience is not of your same nationality, in their mother tongue, it's always very much appreciated. Of course, when you can speak a language properly, then make sure that you use appropriate vocabulary, appropriate syntax, but don't let this block you. So, for example, I still remember years ago, something like 8 years ago, I had to deliver a presentation, which was quite a technical presentation, very boring actually, in Catalonia, in Girona. And I said the audience wasn't going to be very technical, and I said I'm going to lose them. So what I did was I learned the first paragraph in Catalan, and I don't speak Catalan, okay, but I learned it by heart in Catalan. And they were so happy and so engaged, you know, that somebody from Malta learned their language, because you know how proud they are about this. That from that point forward, I could say as many boring things in English as I wanted because I had their attention. So this is just to show you how important languages are to break the ice and as much as possible to communicate better. Next, please. Body language, you know, how you're sitting, your posture, whether you're slouching or whether you're sitting properly, your head, whether, you know, like we said, you're nodding or you're just looking up in space. Your facial expression, you know, if you're looking very depressed or very tired, or if you're looking, you know, quite alert. Your eye contact, this is something which many people have a problem with. They feel it's a little bit too personal to look at someone else in their eyes. And being Mediterranean, lots of gestures. But even if you're not Mediterranean, I've seen people from northern countries also gesturing here and there. Anyway, our body language speaks a lot. And sometimes we need to be very careful that our body language is not saying something which is different to what we are actually talking about. So be very careful, use the right body language as much as you're using the right oral language. Next, please. Okay, one more on nonverbal communication. I'm a big believer in this, as you can see. Things which I haven't as yet touched upon, closeness, how close you get to someone. Now, this is a little bit of a cultural thing. Like we Mediterraneans, especially Maltese, have no notion of space. Your space is my space. You know, I can come as close to you as I want to. But with Northern people, this sort of shocks them a little bit. And so you need to respect that other people have their own comfort zone that you need to stand away from. Then what sort of body contact do you do with the person when you meet them? Do you shake hands? Do you kiss them on the cheek? And how many times do you kiss them on the cheek? I mean, in the Netherlands, you have to kiss 3 times. In Italy, 2 is enough. In England, you better not kiss at all. So it's a little bit of something which is also quite cultural. The other things I think I've touched upon, maybe, yeah, the ways of talking, the pauses, that you stress some particular words, your intonation. Your intonation is very important. Anyway, let's move on, please. Next. One more on this. Physically, this is just an example. You know, somebody who's closed and somebody who is open, just to show you the difference of the body language. Now, I understand that you can't walk around like this, you know, you sort of like Pavarotti singing all the time. But just to show you that it does give a message, you know, if you're always very much closed and you never open up, people will notice. Next, please. Okay, we go on to the written communication skills. And here we need to be careful a little bit that when we write, we try not to make mistakes, grammatical mistakes, because especially if these are put on our business communication, like sales materials and brochures and business cards and anything else, or websites, you know, it impacts badly the image that other people have of our business. So be very, very careful, spell check when you can, or get someone else to check it after you. Next, please. Visuals, like this, you know, I like color, I like images, you know, so not everybody's a visual learner, but some people are. So try and balance color, graphics, design layouts, you know, make them appealing as much as you can without being overpowering. Then too much of a good thing, remember, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Next, please. Now, presentation then. We move, it's still part of communication, but it's sort of its own little subcategory. Presentation skills, especially in front of an audience. So, as they say, fail to plan and plan to fail. So when we're going to present something, you need to at least spend a few moments planning what you're going to say, especially if you're going to make a formal speech, a presentation, standing up at a seminar, at a conference, you know, it's important to prepare yourself. Next, please. So when we're talking in front of an audience, and you can see the audience, not like here. Here, unfortunately, I can't see you. So you might be very frustrated, you know, checking your emails at the moment, and I know nothing about it. But when you have a physical audience in front of you, then you normally can see, can gauge what they're doing. Try and look at them, look at them in the eye, engage with them as if you're talking to one of them. Move forward, move closer. You know, for example, what I do is I hate this sort of podium where you stay there, you know, and especially because I'm short. So they can barely see me behind the podium. So ideally, I walk around, I grab a microphone, and I just walk about. So look in the eyes of the people that you're addressing. Try and talk in a natural way. Do not put on this very, oh, I'm giving a formal speech and therefore my voice tone is going to be very, very boring. Don't do that, you know. Otherwise, we might as well have used some robot or Google Translate to read your speech. Because the appropriate voice will make your presentation effective and interesting. Next, please. Ask for feedback. What do I mean by feedback? I mean, physically in front of an audience, sometimes you can't, you know, engage very much with them, but you might be able to ask a question, you might be able to maybe see if they are nodding or not. You can stop and ask them. You can really stop halfway through and say, any questions? Was this clear? Are you getting this? You know? I know in this particular presentation we're doing today, I'll be asking you this at the end, just to make sure that, but you will get your time, okay? So if you have questions, this is also something I believe in, and I also want your feedback. So later on, you'll manage to ask them. Next, please. Let's change soft skill category now. Enough about communication. I think we've said enough. And now we talk about teamwork. Teamwork is a wonderful and challenging soft skill because not everybody is born as a team worker. Some people are actually work better on their own, and that's fine. And we can appreciate those people and give them a role that is related to that particular type of skill that they have. Some sort of teamwork is, however, needed, especially in a business when it's small, because there aren't many people to shoulder responsibilities. So, you know, even one of the team, if he or she doesn't participate in the team, will make the whole team suffer. In larger organizations, there is a little bit more slack that you can, you know, relax slightly more. But still, it's important to have good teamwork. We exchange ideas, we support each other in a team. We try and build trust, because even in a business, it's all based on trust, whether it's the employer trusting the employees to do their work as they should, or the employees trusting the employer to give them the wage at the end of the month. It's always a question of trust. We need to recognize each other's accomplishments. Say, thanks, well done, congratulations, that really worked, you know. Don't be shy to give positive reinforcement, because that improves the quality work, you know, improves also the commitment. And of course, in a team, a proper allocation of tasks needs to be created. Now, sometimes the team itself knows itself so well that it automatically splits the task. Sometimes it is the team manager that has to split the task for the members of the team. Personally, I prefer the first, although when it's a new team, they need time to learn about each other. Next, please. Okay, so in a team, there's normally a lot of variety. There could be different genders, different age groups, different qualifications, status in life, and different skills. Because if everybody was the same, you know, it would be a very boring team. And maybe the work wouldn't get done. So coordinating with your other team members, especially understanding that everybody is different, okay, is important. And in fact, we refer to teamwork as the cooperation among team members, okay? And the team can be physically in the same place, or nowadays with technology, it can be dispersed. So for example, you can have co-workers that are working in another country, but you manage to work together as a team because you have put the tools in place for doing that. Next, please. Yes, this is another one of the despair.com. I don't know if you can read it, but a few harmless flakes working together can unleash an avalanche of destruction. I told you, dark humor. Next, please. Now, interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills are also extremely important because we are people. We don't work with robots. That might make life slightly more predictable, but boring. So interpersonal skills are important between the different members of the team. Next, please. Now, we have a whole wheel of emotions, okay? And some people tend to be more into part of one wheel at any point in time than another. And we need to respect this. So there could be somebody who at the moment is maybe feeling a little bit sad. Maybe it's because something in their family happens. And you don't know most of the time, but you need to respect. And this is where the interpersonal skills come in. You need to respect other people because you don't know what they're going through at the moment. At the same time, you know, another part of the wheel is sort of the excited, happy bunnies, you know, those that are always bubbly, 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 you know, which can get tiring after a while, but is also a personal trait which we need to learn how to deal with. I mean, sometimes it's difficult to explain to somebody if this person is always, yeah, that's fine, thanks, yeah, it's cool, great, yeah, it's like, chill. But of course, we're all different and we're never the same even 2 days in a row. So this is why the entrepreneur in this case needs to be very much aware of the interpersonal skills and of their employees and of the other people around the business, whether they're business partners, you know, it's extremely important. Next, please. Okay, something else. No, this one is a little bit of an in-between the soft skills and the hard skills, because some people say project management is a hard skill. Some people say project management is a soft skill. Well, leadership in general, we can see it as a soft skill because leadership is not set in tools. It's more a frame of mind. So definitely a good leader is somebody who's capable of organizing time, has the potential to lead others, is self-directed. You are self-leadership, sort of, self-leadership. You lead yourself. You properly plan daily tasks, and you monitor those that have been assigned to you or that you have assigned to others. Good idea to become a role model, hopefully a good one. And then there's always the issue of to lead or to manage, you know. And then sometimes we end up micromanaging, which is not exactly ideal, especially when if your organization starts growing. You cannot do everything yourself. You need to learn to delegate. Next, please. Time management. Now, this is the miracle. Everybody tells me, how do you have time to do everything? You know, I don't. I'm just very good at keeping an agenda. And if you see my calendar, you know, it is time slots really, really small. Like after here now, I need to rush off and get my son, you know, who's 12 and playing at friends. So everything goes into proper time slots, and this is important. And it's important that you prioritize. Some things are more important than others, and very few things are an emergency in life. But some things need to be done quickly. So proper time management, which is a lovely skill, needs to be adopted. Women are great at this, men too, but women are born with this if they have to juggle, family life and work life and, a husband or a partner or a boyfriend or something. Next, please. Yeah, this is me being very cheeky. Well, not me, these guys at despair.com, being very cheeky on multitasking. Next, please. Now we get to the crux of the matter with entrepreneurs. Stress management. Managing stress is something which we need to live with, unfortunately. When you are an entrepreneur, there's always something that will stress you, whether it's your clients, it's your cash flow, it's your bank manager, basically. It's, something not working, something too early, something too late, missed opportunities, too many opportunities, you don't know what to take, stress is all around us, but you need to learn to find time, and calm yourself, to balance this, okay? So, for example, again, this is different though, people to people, person to person, sorry. Like, I'm quite an early bird, so I prefer to wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, do a couple of hours of work when I have peace and quiet, rather than going on in the evening. That's my way of starting the day positively. But then I do chill out, and that's important as well. Listening to music, stuff that isn't related to work, learn to switch off. Unless you learn to switch off, you will end up with either a heart failure or some other stress-related disorder. Next, please. Yes. Other examples of what you can do to avoid stress, or just to change the things, just not to get bored. Something which I believe in is trying to take proper breaks. I can hear somebody wrestling. No. Okay. Take your breaks, whether they're weekend breaks or lunch breaks, make sure you try to chill. Next, please. Carolyn, I think there's somebody called Isabel, which we can hear. Can you please listen? Okay, thank you. So, stress management again. Try to leave your problems behind you after a whole day of work. I know it's difficult, and when you have your own business, work comes with you at home. But try to just find a little bit of time to do what in fact that is saying. Stop stressing and start living. Next, please. These are some other tips, but I know that the time is quickly going, so I'll let you read these later on. I think we will, for those of you that want, we can email you this presentation. Next, please. Okay, problem solving or facing challenges, as I call it. Definitely creativity helps us, trying to look at an issue from different angles, because otherwise you'll be stuck in a rut. Try to be proactive, not reactive, so try not to always, get to the problem first and then figure out how to solve it. Try to see the problem before it approaches and prepare a solution for it. Define problems together. This is where also the teamwork is important. So depend on your team. Do not feel that you are on your own. If you are an employer, depend on your employees. If you're on your own as a startup entrepreneur, try and find people to talk to, other people in the same situation. Next, please. Leadership skills, again, things which we have mentioned already. So trust yourself, however, and keep smiling. I always believe in that. And sharing things together is also important. Next. Always learn new things. This is something which we never stop learning. The more one knows, the more we know how much we don't know. Is obvious. We need, however, to accept responsibility. Sometimes leaders make mistakes. You know, everybody makes mistakes. An entrepreneur can make mistakes, of course. We're not infallible. So we need to look at us critically and sometimes, you know, admit, listen, that was a mistake, and we try and make it better next time. I always say that those that don't make mistakes are those that don't try to do anything. So mistakes are part of learning, you know, and even as a leader, mistakes are part of the path. Next, please. Okay, this is another one from despair.com. Next, please. Sense of humor, in fact. Sense of humor is very important, I believe. Without it, I don't think anybody can be an entrepreneur, because at a point in time, you just have to smile or you'll end up, you know, shooting yourself. So how to use sense of humor, you know, and how much is too much, and you need to sort of make sure that you're not offending anyone. So to build relationships, personally, I use this to get on with people, with my clients, to build a rapport, because I do believe if someone likes you, then the battle is half won. To increase the impact of speeches, so like this, you know, or in a physical audience, I always make sure that there's a little joke here and there, nothing too much, but normally when people laugh at something, they will actually remember it. Next, please. To engage people on a serious topic, you know, like the technical things which are very, you know, heavy sometimes, and people can tune out on this. So if you manage to combine this with something which is funny, people tend to at least stay a little bit focused. And most importantly, creating a happier work environment. You know, like we said, little companies, small companies, there's a level of stress in them always. We're always chasing deadlines, chasing money, chasing everything that can be chased. So we'll try to laugh a bit every now and then to create a happier work environment. Next, please. Now, the last few slides and we're done. Now, these 10 tips for better soft skills. So let's assume what you've heard till now, you've said, okay, I think I have this, I have that, maybe I need to work a bit more on this. So if you want to keep improving your soft skills, okay, these are some tips that you can take home with you today. So one, awareness. You need to be aware of yourself, okay? Make a list of the skills that you lack and discuss this with others. We're not very objective when we look upon at ourselves, isn't it? So because awareness is the first step in building your soft skills. Interact, like we said, do not stay in a corner, even in a conference. Go on and talk to people, okay? Get involved in things, even not outside the world of work, you know, voluntary things. Just get involved. Be optimistic, okay? Something which I will keep repeating ad nauseam, but I do believe that the cup is half full. That's just me. Next, please. Self-motivating, how to keep yourself going, you know, you need to set yourself some goals, keep these targets, and don't beat yourself if you don't reach them, you know, but try to actually have a target. Be humble, accept who you are, accept your you know, your good points and your bad points, most importantly, and learn from criticism. Try to be a team player, learn to trust. That's difficult, I know, but learn to trust, build comradeship, set goals, support. We already said communicate effectively, try and be clear, try and be tactful, try and be diplomatic, and, you know, pace it. Next, please. Think out of the box. We've said this several times today. Be creative, okay? Look at the big picture, look at it holistically. You know, sometimes we focus on very, very, very little problems, but if you stand back, you can see really what it is from afar. And learn to multitask and prioritize. Unfortunately, this is very, very much needed. Practice empowerment, practice delegation, and manage your time well. Next, please. And there you go. Talking of soft skills, I wanted to show you a padded room, which is very soft, but for the wrong reason. Okay, next, please. That's it. That's it. So I'm here. I think we still have about 10 minutes, maybe, for your questions. And there is a slide after this which gives you references of where I took some of the pictures and things and details. Okay, so for those of you that want to keep reading more, there's also the links. So I think that's it from my end. Carolyn, where do I see the questions?
I think it's best if people type the questions to us and we can read them out, because then it stops people talking over each other. And so you should see a chat box at the very bottom of the GoToMeeting screen.
I can see the chat box. Yes.
Yeah. So if anyone has a question for Angel, please do type it there, and I'll read them out. Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's being shy.
Everybody understood everything. Great communication. Okay, thank you. Very clear. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Alexander. Okay. Well, if you think of something else and you want to contact me, I'm writing my email here, angel@women.org.mt. So if you think of something and you want some information on soft skills or on anything else, I'm always happy to be able to guide.
Great, thanks, Angel. I think we are sending an evaluation form as well after the meeting, so it would be great if everybody could spend just a few moments completing that for us, so we get some feedback. Okay.
Okay.
Great. So I think there are no more questions, so shall we sign off?
Okay. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining, and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.